pickleball is your big thing, right? Tennis, right?
I was a tennis pro for a long time. Yep. And then pickleball was the last certification I got before I got out of the industry, before the pickleball boom. Yeah, I was a teaching pro for a long time.
Nice.
And enjoyed the coaching aspect probably the most, probably even more than the sport. Like I liked the sport, but I wasn't
the
as
coaching.
excited about, competing for myself as I was, doing the coaching and the teaching side.
Should just turn this into a sports podcast.
Yeah. I mean, I would have nothing to contribute to a sports podcast.
I wouldn't either.
I don't either. I get this all the time where it's like, are you into sports? I'm like, not at all. And I don't know if it's because I was doing my own stuff for so long. Like I was competing and, coaching. Like I wasn't going to take my 6 hours off a week and watch 4 football games. So I was just like, nah, I'm going to move on.
I thought tennis was a fancy French dance. Not at all though.
And
Apparently it's a sport.
Countries it is.
Right,
like that is
with all the screaming.
That's how they do it. And it's better for it. When it looks more like a dance, it's more fun.
Yeah.
The way that I played did not look like that. That was giraffe on roller skates mode.
Okay, let's do it. Welcome to another business podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah. I'm joined by my co-host. Say hello, Matt.
Hello, Matt.
And to make things more fun, our guest today is also Matt.
Another Matt.
It's another Matt.
Not another
This
Matt.
I'm the worst Matt.
Yeah.
That's how I'd
for
like to be
sure.
referred to.
Yeah,
for
Should
the
we
rest
right
of
now
the
do
day.
like a Matt 1 and a Matt 2?
Matt
just
one,
to
Matt
like...
two, thing one, thing two.
My business cards say Matthew for that same reason.
there you
Because
go.
Really?
there's so many Matts that it's like, I'll just be Matthew.
Yeah,
Have you found there's
I
a
have
lot?
no preference at all.
Is there
It's
a lot
just-
fewer Matthews?
There's fewer Matthews. Yep.
I'm Matthew when I'm in trouble.
Oh, yeah. So I'm Matthew all the time, so I guess I'm
So
always,
you're always in trouble.
Yep.
That's good. Good. At least you know where you stand.
That's important.
Yeah.
It's easier that way.
Yeah, for
Constantly
sure. Just-
an issue.
just admit
Matthew
it.
McClure.
Thank you for taking time to make it out here and sit down with us.
It's my
Appreciate it.
pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. You are in the first lineup of people that I wanted to have on this podcast because just in the bit of time that you and I have gotten to talk, you've offered a lot of insights to me. I mean, we've known each other, I guess, now for probably a year.
Yeah.
About a year.
Yep.
But I feel like over the last 6 months especially, we've been talking a lot. So why don't you give a little bit of an introduction as to like who you are and what you do?
Oh, God, that's a deep question.
His name's Matthew. Just said.
Sorry.
Oh.
I'm probably gonna call you Matt.
That's fine. I don't mind at all. It's just about eye contact.
Yeah,
Whoever
that's
you're
the
looking
thing.
at,
I'm really leaning into the eye contact on this one.
I had a bunch of members call me Mark for a long time, and I was just
That's
like,
my
"That's
dad's
fine.
name.
I
That
don't
works
mind."
out.
Yeah,
Matt, Mark, Mike, Melissa.
no big deal. I answer to anything. I'm Matthew McClure. I'm a financial planner and advisor with Edward Jones. I'm also a certified exit planning advisor, which is a additional designation that many advisors get to be able to enhance their business practice with their variety of clients. So I am in year 2 of that activity. Previously, I owned and operated a company that did small business and startup consulting, primarily in the media and marketing space. I sold that a few years ago and, kind of took some time and decided what I wanted to do. And financial advising was the most direct way to help people. And I think we talked briefly earlier in our little, non-official pre-intro that I was also
Pre-intro.
Right.
Yeah, I've been involved with a couple of businesses throughout my kind of entrepreneur life, but before that, I was a tennis pro and coach for a while, and so I really liked the coaching aspect of that more than the competitive side, and so I think I just kind of bring that through with almost all of my business acumen, right? And so the financial advising piece really feels good because I feel like I have a responsibility to make sure people truly understand where they're at and how their finances work and how things play together. And I like it when people call me and ask questions. I am not looking at my phone being like, oh, again.
This guy.
Like it's a joy when somebody's
Matt
like, how does
guy.
that? Yep. Yep. There's Matthew. He's in trouble.
He's in trouble. So, I mean, tennis obviously not as, for in the moment, yes, very important. But the risks, maybe you get tennis elbow. I think that's the only injury that you get in tennis. But
Correct.
But financial stuff, yes, for sure. Like big problems if you are bad at that. And so helping and coaching people with that is super helpful.
Yeah, I think that was actually a big motivating factor for me, to be honest, because I did have this moment, in my coaching and tennis career where I was like, I'm not really doing anything.
This is of no value at all.
People are paying me excessive amounts of money to generally feel good about themselves. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. It was nice when you had true students that wanted to learn, but then you had a lot that you were babysitting.
There's a lot of people with white shorts and sweaters. They're like, I got this for Christmas. I don't know what to do with it.
I have to use it. Somebody gave me a gift card to your shop, so I guess that I'm... Yes.
Tennis or just sipping a lot of iced tea. I don't know. That's just...
So it's fun to help people with hobbies. It's more valuable, I think, at least in my worldview, to help with stuff that matters. And finance is one of those things that is a tool for what you want to do in the world. And if it is a negative or a detractor in your life, then it causes a lot of suffering. So,
was there a specific reason that the financial world stuck out to you? Because I've talked to a lot of people that are, real estate agents, and they got into that field for the same sort of reason. I wanted to help people in this point in transition, right? Or there's people that are lawyers for the same reason. I want to help people that feel like they're in a helpless situation. So when you were looking at all of the ways you could devote more of your time to helping people, was there a certain reason that finances jumped out to you?
Yeah, it was kind of a natural progression for me, especially after doing some of that consulting for small businesses and startups. A lot of that space was about raising money, trading for equity, how do we get to the next level of business growth? And it was always shocking to me how people that had great business minds and really solid ideas for, building a company also had very little knowledge and help along the way, right? With the process of, hey, maybe you should be paying yourself first. Hey, you have access to some tools to invest that other people don't because you're a business owner. Hey, you should consult somebody about taxes before you make a bunch of decisions, kind of thing.
Don't just buy everything. You have to pay that back.
So that was kind of a natural flow for me. I had an advisor for 11 years before I became one myself. I had great value that I took from all those conversations. People do it for different reasons, right? I sort of understood the nuance to it when I got one, but I didn't have the time to, manage it, right? I wanted somebody looking over my shoulder, helping with those pieces because I was building a business or working 60 hours a week in the summertime when I was coaching tennis, or just not having, the ability to put eyes on it all the time.
I'd imagine even in your field, it's still nice to have and always be learning, always have that mentor above you. That's there's always somebody that's gone before me, or just even saying, hey, I don't know everything about everything. And so even in what you're doing now, even I'm having people that can speak into that for you even.
Yeah. The collaborative aspect of the financial space should be promoted more than it is. It's one of the reasons I love Jones. Because
Jones Soda.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Edward Jones Investments.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But that aspect of the culture that goes along with, it's still a privately held firm. Everybody's goal is to help each other succeed.
Yeah.
I don't know that you find that, all over the place. And the people that I talk to, that are seasoned veterans still have mentors that they're talking to, all the time. So it takes a village, and we take it seriously. So
you mentioned and it's funny because we were talking about you probably know where I'm going with this. You mentioned this, and we talked about this right before you were here, about businesses that they start and it's a lot of marketing companies. Right. And so, we have this great idea for a startup. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get a VC and we're going to pitch this idea, and then we're going to raise millions of dollars and buy this huge office in the city and put video games and ping pong tables, and it's amazing. And we're going to hire 50 people, and it looks like this successful company. And literally they've done nothing. They've sold nothing.
Yeah.
Just that idea of to me, that's where I've seen a lot of, even looking for jobs and stuff, where you see a lot of those mistakes being made. So why does that exist? And right or wrong, good or bad,
Mm-hmm.
what did somebody have success and then all of a sudden, like, I don't know. I've never really understood that. It's like this facade.
There's a couple different layers to those types of things. Typically, somebody had in those situations, right, where it's like, man, we went out and we raised millions of dollars and we did this thing. Somebody involved in the process had some success along the way to warrant that bigger buy. Right. So it's atypical for somebody who hasn't been in the world of business to be like, I have this great idea and now I'm going to go raise X, right? At least not without surrounding themselves with a team of people that really know what they're doing, right? In the investment space in businesses. The other one is that like you will see some smaller companies have some early success and then jump on it and be like, well, this is where we're growing, so this is what we're going to dump our effort into. And when it goes sideways is when they misassess the value that someone else would place on it, right? And so they're treading water, they're kind of breaking even, maybe they're going into debt in order to do it. They're getting customers, but looking around in the actual marketplace, right? What does the market say is going to create success for that? It could be totally different ideas, right? And so then they go out and say, I would like to sell this. And the market's like, we don't have any value for that. Like, that's not,
it's like Shark Tank.
You know,
I've watched like almost every episode of Shark Tank. I kid you not.
Yeah,
and
it's
like,
a fun one.
It's that is like 9 times out of 10, these guys are either way undervaluing their stuff or they're way overvaluing.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, dude, just take 1%, man. Like, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
What are you
And you
doing?
end up in two very unique places with that. You end up with a few people that have heard stories about the bootstraps. You know, we're going to keep all the equity. We're going to grow it. And then somebody comes in and makes a giant offer and we, hit the lottery. That's great. But not enough people are thinking in that long term of like, what skills do we need to bring in? We should consider trading equity for skill sets that we don't have. Right. I mean, I'd rather have 30% of something than 100% of nothing.
Right.
And that mindset doesn't always go along, especially on the first one.
Unless you're bad at math and you're like, I'd rather have 100%. It's 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But even, okay, so that's one example of like, because this is kind of where, to kind of flip this a little bit. So yeah, okay, maybe I don't relate to having a business or a product that I've never talked to a VC in my life.
Sure.
So, but like I've also owned a digital marketing company and like done freelance for 8 years on my own. And so I think one of the mistakes that I've made in the past was either hiring too early or buying too much stuff. And so I feel like a lot of small businesses and people that hopefully are listening, or the one guy that's listening to this podcast, what he shouldn't do.
I'm sitting right here.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, don't do this. Advise yourself, please. But like even just spending a lot of money up front. And so like, I guess what would you say, like what kind of advice would you give or caution would you give, or what mistakes are really being made around that, where it's like we're trying to grow too quickly versus like using what you have and getting the most out of that, before you just start dropping money and getting loans and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think the planning is key. I don't think that enough business owners go into it with that mindset. I mean, not to give myself like a shameless self-promotion, but I will.
That's why we invited you.
Shameless self-promotion.
We're going to have a theme song. There's a jingle.
Yeah, that's the
I
jingle.
expect a fresh animation
I love
to
that.
go
Yeah,
in
that's
front
actually
of
good.
it.
We should do that.
Shameless
Dub over
self-promotion.
my singing.
I did do a podcast for a while that was around racket sports as a side tangent, and one of the things that we did have was we did like a shameless self-promotion, but it was called the Industry Schmooze.
Industry
and it was
Schmooze.
where
That's
we
hard
had
to
like
say.
somebody from it was
very
fun
good.
to do even just right now.
Yeah, that was good. You did a
And
good
we'd
job.
have somebody from like a racket company or somebody that made shoes or that kind of thing, but it was like the Industry Schmooze.
And they're like, "Hi, I'm Bob Jones.
That's very good. That's very good.
I sell shoes."
Yeah. So it was a fun one. Way to give back, hopefully, and scatter a little bit. But the planning side,
I don't
right?
remember my question.
So the mistakes that get made
Thank you,
about, in terms of growth and personnel and
Right,
some of
yeah,
those
yeah.
pieces, like certified exit planning advisor, right, is one of the designations I have. And the design of it is that it's really just solid business strategy. I think people, hear that and they're like, oh, when I want to sell my company, I'll talk to you. The reality is I add a lot to clients by doing that process either way, because the goal is to be at a place where if you have a date in your head, you guys are like, we're going to build up this podcast company and we're going to sell it 10 years from now. And if you get a really great opportunity 4 years from now, but in your brain you were like, oh, we were too far away from that, now we've missed a chance, right? Because the market might tell you that now is the time.
It's 4 years, not 10. Yeah,
so we really are doing that stuff all along the way, right? And so the planning that goes with it is designed to basically break, your business strategy into like 90-day sprints. Right. So once a quarter, you have some goals, you have, you might do a SWOT analysis. You might have a meeting that, puts sort of all your objectives in one place. You tackle a different part of the business. You look back and say, hey, this is the progress we made. Do we want to grow? Do we want to exit at the end of each of those things? Right. Typically, you choose to grow, right, until you feel like exit is on the horizon. And then you might start building your strategy a little differently. But starting at the beginning is a game changer. That's one that I've had businesses where I started them and went, hey, I think this is going to be a fun thing to do. And it made a little money on the side and paid the idiot tax. Yeah. And then I've started businesses where I was like, I am going to sell this day one.
Yeah, this sucks.
The goal is to sell this. No, I mean, that was the objective,
this is
right?
Good.
I think this is a good idea. Yeah. I think this is a good enough idea where somebody's going to want to take advantage of it, right? And so if that is the goal from day one, you do things totally differently. Right. And so there's a lot of...
You hold it closer to the chest. I mean, I remember from my experience, I've been on both sides of this. So I've been on the side as a business owner where I had 2 part-time employees for about a year and a half. So I kept them on longer than I was kept on at a job, which is my second example. But but like I probably maybe, I don't know, hired them too soon, like from a financial standpoint. I was able to sustain them, and I kept them until they actually just went off and got a different job. But I think looking back, I probably should have waited even longer to have more of that money to, whether that's spilled into the business or whatever. Now on the other side, and so those employees I had for like, one was like a direct duplicate of myself. So I duplicated the work that I was doing with another person, which is great. The second one was like, the things I don't want to do, like she did some of the like the sales emails and things like that. So even some of like admin stuff. Now on the other side, I had a
full-time. She was a full-time hire?
She was part-time, but like 20. They were both like 20 hours a week. Okay. So it was a big deal for me to like bring people on. At that point, I think I was only doing the business for like 3 years at that point. So it was pretty quick for what I was doing. But anyways, flip side of that, I've been on the receiving end where somebody doesn't plan. I got hired full-time for 2 months and was told, we have to lay you off because we don't have money for this. And I was like, how do you hire for somebody for 2 months? Yeah. And have them like get rid of all their clients and all this stuff.
One big contract, maybe. If they lose one giant contract, then all of a sudden they're like,
that. It was just like, did you just not look at your books like at all to know if you can afford somebody at this rate? Like, you gave me the offer letter. Yeah. So I've been on that receiving side, and it's not just like, this is a fun thing to talk about, and hey, don't do this. It's like, no, that has real consequences for people.
Real life ramifications that sort of gets left out of the process.
And yes, as a business owner, you probably feel it, but like, what are the things maybe that the fallback or the fallout, I guess you could say, that we're risking? It's people, right?
Yeah, I think you use probably a bunch of your social equity, for lack of a better term, when you're starting businesses, because you've made some kind of contacts, right? Hopefully there's a network involved. You have an idea of, who you would sell to. You probably have an idea in your head of a few clients that like, this would be perfect for, whatever that product or service is, right? And so if you do that a couple of times, in most instances once, then all of a sudden that social equity is ruined and you have to start from scratch by building up a new network with a new group of people. Are you going to acknowledge that as a failure and learn from it and use it as part of your story? Or is it something that you can't overcome because a whole bunch of people are like, don't work with that guy. He doesn't know, right? Yeah. So the calculated growth and having the plan really accelerates your process in a good way, right? Yeah. Because you want to hurry up and get to the decision point. It doesn't mean that you have to hurry up and grow. right? You want to be gathering
Right.
enough data to be like, can we do this, right?
Right.
And if you just kind of coast on everything's sort of generally going fine and maybe I'll hire a whole bunch of people, well, like that, what caused that, right? Other
Yeah.
than feeling like I made a little bit more money or I have a little bit more work. You know, if you don't know the specifics and the nuance of where that's coming from, it can blow up in your face real
like
fast.
trying to grow too quickly, kind of.
Yeah.
Right, is another thing.
There, this is probably a question we should have asked at the start, but
What's your name? Oh no.
but like
Who are
just for like absolute clarity's sake, there are financial advisors, there's financial coaches, there's CPAs, there's wealth management advisor. Like
Sure.
there's a lot of like titles in the money industry and world. Can you just give a little bit, maybe just like a top level outline of what your job scope is and
Sure.
what you do for people?
Yeah, for clients, we do financial planning and financial advising, right? And within those categories, we might be more on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis on the planning side, depending on the needs of a client. And then on the advising side, it has a little bit more to do with investment strategy and, managing like long-term vision, right? There's some nuance there, right? And there's different names within, like financial coach is somebody that typically handles like budget type stuff. Like you're like, hey,
It's very nitty-gritty.
yeah, things kind of went sideways on me and I, have a little bit of debt over here, but I also started a business and me and my spouse both work and some of those guys like, okay, like a financial coach typically, really gets into the day-to-day minutia and budgeting and spending.
And yells at people in locker rooms.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's
that's
big.
important. Yeah, and then has subsets of coaches like an offensive financial coach and a defensive financial coach.
Hey, that's actually
like,
a good idea.
yeah, that's a big key.
We got into sports metaphors and I got lost. Sorry.
I'm a special teams financial coach. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
We just returned
Just signed a
kickoffs.
contract for
Yep.
10 years.
Yep. So there's a lot of different, things that might go on in the financial, industry in that way. And ultimately, really good advisors do kind of fit the needs of their clients based on availability, right? So I know advisors that do really deep dives with all of their clients and are very much like sending them, a communication every week or two, to talk about, hey, what's going on with this thing? Or you mentioned that you have this coming up and should we plan for it and that kind of stuff. And then there are advisors who, you're paying them to not bother you. you
Just do it all.
You're
Don't
like,
talk to me.
Kinda, yeah, where you're just like, here are my resources, here are the funds. You make the decisions that you think are appropriate. And once a year, let me know how it's going. And like both of those are perfectly fine, right? They're based on the design
Which do
of
you
the
like
client.
more?
That's a good
I don't want
question.
to talk to clients.
That's a good question. Mine is almost always based on personality type.
Yeah.
So I really try to find clients that I gel well with, and but I do have some that are like, we don't need to talk that often. You're doing fine.
So no
like,
chance for us to
I
ever
appreciate
work
it. Exactly.
together.
Yeah, you're
okay,
off
got
the
it.
list.
Got it.
Yep.
Off limits here.
It's not going to happen.
Yep,
So
got
yeah,
it.
again, I can adapt to a lot of different people's needs.
Yeah.
The only one that kills me is when they want the advice but not the communication. Like they're just always too busy for you, but
Doesn't
then
make sense.
they're like, "Hey, how can we do this other thing differently?" I'm like, "We could if you had picked up the phone any of the 3 times that yes."
Yeah.
Yes, and then later to be, kind of irritated or wish that something was different was like that. Okay, well, we have to reset the guidelines for our relationship then.
I've
right?
often said I would love to just make the money and be like, here, you figure it out. I'm horrible at it. Just take
That
it.
is perfectly reasonable, right?
Just you do it.
Financial stuff is, it's time and temperament and expertise, right? So if you have 2 of those 3 things, then maybe you have to outsource the third. And I know a lot of people that have the temperament and the expertise, but they do not have the time. And if you're not staring at markets, for a couple hours a day and managing it yourself and that kind of thing, like, financial advising, perfectly reasonable.
I do a lot of staring at market. I'll sometimes just drive by like Jewel or Fresh Market.
Yeah,
and
that's a
just
big
look
one.
At it.
Woodman's.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that's a nice
I like
building.
Woodman's because it's so long and white.
Yeah, it takes forever to. Yeah, it takes all day to look at that place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adding real value.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was curious what sort of misconceptions potential clients might have about what you do. Like, Could you talk about some things that when you're sitting down with people that might want to work with you, what you've identified are common like misconceptions or misunderstandings about what you do?
You tell me, what is it you think you do?
What is it you think you do here?
Yeah.
That's a good one because there's a lot of misinformation in the financial space. So the financial TikTok world is killing me right now, right? Where I'm not allowed to say anything specific on this podcast about any types of investments or strategies or taxes or any of that stuff.
You can't say
because
you can't even say a little bit.
No, I can't.
He
I
did
can't
say
say anything.
TikTok, and then he said invest.
I'm screwed. This whole thing is getting shut down. Demonetize us now.
I lost all the money.
Yeah, and so people that, don't fall in that category aren't allowed to give that type of advice because it's, financial advice should be specific and nuanced, right? Each of you has different things going on in your life. I shouldn't just be generally saying, hey, use this product. Like, this is a great way to do X. I don't know.
Put it all on red.
Yeah. Well, because there's a reality
Spin it on black.
In your industry, there is a high level of compliance regulations. And so anybody who is officially certifiably classified as a financial advisor is held to a lot of accountability to make sure that they are actually helping.
Correct. That is the way that it should be, right?
Which
like
is
the whole objective is with all these, exams and certifications and licenses and all that stuff is to help people
to have a positive outcome.
Yes.
Not a negative.
Yes.
Which is like a great peace of mind for somebody like me who would work with somebody like you because I know, at least generally, like kind of regardless of who I go with, there is an expectation on their side that there's like, if they don't follow compliance, it will hurt them in the long run.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, like you were talking about in social media platforms, don't fall into that same classification. They're just kind of running their mouth. Right. And that gets kind of dangerous. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think that the big one, the word is that gets thrown around is fiduciary, right? So I'm a fiduciary, and the legal and ethical obligation that goes along with that is incredibly serious, right? Mm-hmm. So it is important to find somebody that you can trust in a way that goes beyond just, hey, I got you covered. Yeah. Right? Like, okay, I appreciate that, but
download
at the same
PDF
time,
with this link.
Yeah. Click on this phishing
scam.
scam.
PDF I just downloaded from the other guy.
Right. So that's a big one. And then the stuff that people might overlook usually have to do with like timeline or resources, right? Like the big one that I see is people wait a little bit too long to get a financial advisor because they kind of go like, well, I don't have any money right now. Well, that's okay that you don't have any money, but the plan makes it so that when you start to have money, you're able to use those resources effectively to, get further down the line, right?
Well, and what's wrong with having knowledge ahead of time?
Right.
Like my wife and I have always been told throughout that we've met with several advisors until recently, but like we've met with several advisors and it was always, you just don't make enough money. And I always hated that because I was like, but like now I'm 40 and now what? Like I have 3 kids. Like, okay, I just don't make enough, but there's got to be something I can do.
Yeah. And there usually is.
Right.
It's just about finding the right fit of the person who isn't concerned with their own pocketbook as much as they are trying to help the people across from them.
Yeah.
So that becomes a big one. I do think that I like to say it a lot that if you, especially on the business owner side, but on the personal side as well, depending on what happens in life, that having the plan allows you to take advantage of hitting a home run or having an opportunity that you didn't expect. Because otherwise you go, hey, I had this little extra money on the side, and then you slowly bleed it off either to inflation by leaving it alone in a checking account or Chick-fil-A.
Right.
I mean, you can. I bleed a lot to Chick-fil-A.
Am I the only one then?
No,
Not just me.
No, I've got a large family.
Can we
Chick-fil-A is
set up a meeting?
$100 every time.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Every time I go.
I don't have a Chick-fil-A that's like dangerously close to me. So
key.
Yeah,
that's a big key. Smart living situation you've set up.
Yeah,
you're pretty good shape.
Stop it. I do have a Taco Bell that's dangerously close.
Oh yeah, no, we could tell. Yeah.
Like
for sure.
The closest restaurant to this office is a Taco Bell.
Yeah, this is Taco Bell weight, not Chick-fil-A weight.
Yeah,
I could tell from the
you could tell the
I was like, oh, it's Taco Bell guy right there.
Yeah.
Wow, this turned rude.
My weight's eating over the sink weight. I've got 5 kids, and I'm just like, I'll just eat whatever there's. Yep.
I'm gonna be doing the dishes anyways. Might as well just stand here.
Any other misconceptions?
Yeah. So the plan or needing to have, enough money in order to work with somebody is a big one. And then I also think that another one that is kind of difficult is that there's going to be this perfect moment in life where you have like everything set up. I see people do it as well with like, family planning, right? Like that's another one, not to, go in a totally different tangent, but like if you are waiting for both people to have a great job and for the career to be set and enough money in the bank and we have the house bought already and we do all the thing and like, okay, like that may never happen, right? That
Most likely will.
that is a really difficult ask
Yeah.
in today's society to have everything lined up before, you might decide to do that. So it's very similar on the financial space is that like, oh, I have to have these other things lined up. Like you might be in a better position by having a conversation really early with someone and saying, oh, I thought I was supposed to, whatever.
Be here, yeah.
I thought I was supposed to be doing this instead of that. And it's like, no, you can do both of those at the same time. And hey, what's, your situation look like with work, right? Do you have a 401k? Do you not have a 401k?
Right.
Like, creating some help to
Dude, I mean, I wish
navigate.
I would have had that conversation when I was like 17.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
going into college, so I was in college, I took a year off after high school, but 04 to 08, I was in college. Didn't even know something as simple as, hey, you can pay on your interest while you're in school. So then had $12,000 compounded interest by the time I graduated. Would have loved to know that. And so I think like one commentary on like just like we need to have more outgoing accountability from the schools being like, hey, like go after them with this knowledge because they don't know.
Yeah.
And everyone's family life is different. And so, I had like my mom made $12 an hour, but I was under my dad's insurance and he made six figures. So I could have probably gotten a free ride had I been under my. So it's like things like that. It's like you just don't know what you don't know. And now it's like I'm still paying on the loans. So
Yeah.
having that discussion, like even like this should be stuff they teach you in high school even.
Yeah, it feels like that. The nuance and the strategy that goes along with it. I mean, there's a lot. I don't know to what level of efficacy the education part would have. It would be good. I know that it would be important.
Are the kids going to listen?
Yeah. Yeah. And who has the bandwidth for that, like at a certain point, like if we're failing to teach kids to read, it's not like, hey, finance basics is next up in your alley. I mean, there's, there's a variety of things you can tackle in that world.
If you did a TikTok video
would
about
be,
it, though.
well, yeah.
They'd be like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, then it reaches everybody. And, good or bad, I think one of the misconceptions is that the average person in the world of finance is very much out for themselves. And I don't think that is the case, right? I know that there are, there's some high-powered, people in the finance world that are, making TikToks and this is the car that I drive and these are the private jets that I fly around. But 90% of the advisors that I know, personally really are in it to help clients and we're compensated in a way that goes along with the success of our clients.
Right.
So that also generally helps.
Ethical.
But it's there's been, because it involves money and the amount of scams that are out there, it's easy for people to hear one bad story about something finance adjacent, not even an advisor or a plan, right? Yeah, but they'll watch what's the gosh, I'm blanking on the name of the film now. Steve Carell's in it.
The Big Short.
The Big Short. Yeah, like people watch The Big Short and be like, look at all these people just trying to rip everybody off, and you're like,
didn't know Steve Carell was in finance.
Like a select group select group of people within a structure in an institutional failure that knew what was going on, and even the people that thought that they were helping clients were not, right, because of the way that stuff was built. So, that leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, and they avoid it for too long. And then you end up in a rough situation where you could have been getting compound interest for the last 20 years, but you chose not to because you were nervous about it.
Yeah.
So.
We're winding down on time.
Sure.
But My assumption is that most of the people listening to this podcast are people that would find some sort of value, I believe, in working with somebody like you.
Not you.
Not
Somebody
you.
like you.
Not
somebody,
me, but someone
somebody
like
who
me.
fits the bill. Yeah. But what are some things, some key things that you would really want somebody who either has never worked with a financial advisor or has just had bad experiences to know?
I would really want them to focus on connecting with somebody that they get along with, because some of the conversations that you have to have are difficult and like kind of intimate, right? And because finance covers all of the things that you want to do in life or that you can do in life, that can really get deep quickly in terms of conversation. So finding, a person that you feel like kind of shares your values and that you don't mind having a conversation with, picking up the phone, having a conversation with is a big one.
Yeah.
I really think that in terms of picking those people, in my world, it's very important that somebody doesn't have a hard line on like one specific thing, right? Because the reality is, if your goal is to help your client the best that you possibly can, what I think about crypto doesn't necessarily, mean that it lines up with what that person, feels that they need, right? So
Yeah.
I can lend advice and tell them, hey, here are the types of options we might have in this space, but I shouldn't be discounting things entirely unless I really have like targeted, like, hey, this is a scam, like
Right.
danger zone,
Yeah.
right? Where like I'm reporting this as soon as we get off the phone because of like that level of threat,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So those are a couple of the big ones, and I would also say like be curious, right? Like a lot of people stay away from things in general in life because they don't understand it, and as a result, it comes back to bite them. So
I stayed away
you
from-
guys have that personality type
Yeah.
where you're like, I want to figure this out,
Yeah.
right?
I didn't date at all in high school because I just didn't understand girls. So I was like,
Well, that's
I don't
still
get it.
impossible. You're not going to be able to pull that
I
one
don't
off
get it.
ever.
Yeah.
But
Zero luck.
But
Zero
you figured
understanding.
some part of it out of it.
I figured it out
eventually.
later, but yeah, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really do think that if more people were just wanting to ask some more questions and and be willing to discuss some of the nuance, it probably would benefit them across the board. I still have conversations with clients that are really, high level in business. Some of them work for other financial institutions, some of that kind of stuff. And they will ask a question where I'm like, that feels super basic, and I shouldn't have assumed that you knew that just because of your position, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
everybody has different specialties, right? The same stuff that you do to be successful to grow your business doesn't mean that you knew everything about business along the way.
Right.
Right.
It means you have a couple of skill sets that have accelerated, in a way
Yeah.
that hopefully is positive.
Yeah. Always be
So-
learning. I love
Yeah.
that idea of not assuming I know everything either.
Yeah. And then really successful people set up like a core team, right? People do not do it themselves. It's the same as we were talking about, one of the pitfalls of business. You should be looking to expand. You should be looking to add people, whether they bring advice or expertise or that kind of stuff. But that mentality of like, I'm going to do it entirely by myself because I think that I'm the most equipped to handle it is usually wrong. So yeah, I think that those are the kind of big ones in that space in general, right? And being willing to lean on other people, not in a way where it is a total disaster, right? If you don't do it, but in like, what opportunity are you missing by not
Right.
trying to bring another, other people?
I've always
along.
heard hire somebody like to duplicate yourself specifically. Hire somebody that's better than you at what you do.
Yeah.
And that's why Jeremiah is working with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm way better.
Yeah.
Just so much better. So much better. I mean, in so many ways.
Okay.
I
Last
have more
question.
hair.
My last question. Let's say I wanted to start a business, or I had just started a business and I need to be really conservative with my resources and I just don't have money to put places. Should I still work with somebody like you? And why?
I mean, I'm totally biased. I would say yes, partially because that's one of my favorite things to do. So I really like it when somebody has a good idea for a business and they're kind of just getting started and they don't have financial resources, because then that's kind of like my opportunity to invest in them, right? Is that like, we're not bringing stuff to the table, but if it's sound business and all the pieces are there and we just happen to be on the young side of it, that's great. Then I love to be able to help out. I think that the growth side becomes key because you have a lot of different options with how you could start business, right? Are you going to look to give away equity for somebody that, helps expand your skill set? What are the triggers for which maybe you should be hiring some fractional employees as you get off the ground? Mm-hmm. Should you be more focused on like strategic partnerships in a way to build where there's some equal value exchange of, whatever your services are? Yep. There you go. That kind of stuff.
It's working.
It's almost like we're doing that.
It's almost like we're doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. All of those parts are a great idea, especially on the early planning phase. And again, getting quickly to what is a bad idea is also important. Right.
Like,
Like we don't
do this.
Yeah,
idea.
we want to
It's
have
horrible.
this perfect path towards success, and it's like just start moving, and then like figure out if it's wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Then you know that it's wrong sooner, and you can pivot and head the right direction.
And sometimes it's not the whole idea, but it's like even where you start.
Correct.
And I've had my business in the past has morphed rather from one thing to another. Mm-hmm. Still in the same industry, like design, web, and then social media, and then podcasting. And so it's like, so if I would have just quit, design didn't work, it's like, well, then I wouldn't have arrived at where I am today. But yeah.
Right. Does it have a place, and, can you shuffle up the puzzle pieces in order to, in order to make it more effective, right? Switch order and, hey, I'm going to focus on this thing first because it's going to bring in revenue, which we need in order to grow on the next phase. Mm-hmm. But without that revenue, we don't get to do our favorite thing.
Right.
So,
right. Exactly. Exactly.
That's the rough part about, business owner entrepreneurship is that like sometimes you got to grind it out. Sometimes you got to earn it and be like, I spent 2 years doing this thing that I did not want to do because it was, the most effective way to bring in revenue.
Yeah.
And that
now allows me to do what I really want to do.
That gives you the luxury of switching to stuff that you really love to do. Yeah. And then hopefully both of those, pieces fit together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you continue to grow.
Good stuff, man.
Love that. Well,
love it all.
Yeah. Thank you again for your time.
I loved about half of it.
Yeah, I was just being nice.
This will be heavily edited.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We're not going to use any of it. Actually,
This is probably going to end up being about like a 5-minute.
Throw it out.
Yeah.
We're going to replace you with the next guest.
No, but seriously,
if I end up on TikTok, I'm going to be pissed.
We just started a TikTok.
I'm going to just take the clip where we're bashing TikTok and put it on TikTok.
Yep.
No, seriously, thank you for your time and thank you for your insights and your resources. We will put contact information and things like that in the show notes. So if people do want to reach out to you, they can.
That's very nice of you.
Yeah.
I'll do the same for you guys, but in a different way where if business owners need a podcast, I'm sending them your direction.
Don't contact these
guys. Perfect.
So bad.
Appreciate that. Thank you
Should
for listening.
we have sat in order with the length of our beards? Maybe we should do the whole thing over again and be like short, medium, long.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, we should have.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
My bad, guys.
You just want us to look at the fact that you have hair is what's happening right now.
That we could have done.
Notice my hair length.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
And also on the top of my head.
You guys look great.
Oh, man.
Unquestionable.
All right, we gotta go. Thank you so much for listening.
I'm not going anywhere.
If you were listening on any place that you could give us feedback or leave us a review or a rating, please do that. It will help us get it places.
A good one though, like a good rating, a good review.
An honest one, but like an honest, positive
like a good
one.
honest
one. Yeah. All right, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
That wasn't my camera. See you later.
Oh.